Okay, for more on this, we are being joined by Dov Zakheim. He is joining us from Washington, D.C., and is the former Undersecretary of Defense in the George W. Bush administration and currently senior advisor at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Dov, welcome back to WION, and good to see you. Is there a change in the U.S. position towards Israel and its operations in Gaza? And if so, how will it impact how Prime Minister Netanyahu's government moves forward?
Well, it's clearly a change. Thank you for having me again. Yes, it's a change in the sense that the draft resolution that is being put forward by the United States at the UN Security Council has the words ceasefire in it, first time ever, at least in this round of fighting. So that's a difference. Now, there is another resolution that's far more one-sided in the American opinion, and that's the Algerian resolution that simply calls for an end to the fighting, says nothing about the hostages, and the United States is going to veto that one. But mentioning the ceasefire is terribly important. Now, it's conditioned. First of all, the term apparently being used is practicable ceasefire, whatever that actually means. Secondly, it does say that the hostages all have to be released, something like what Gantz just said, and you quoted him, that they need to be released as part of this arrangement. And not going into Rafah, well, obviously, if the hostages are released, there's much less of an excuse to go into Rafah. And so the United States is very explicit about that as well. So there is a change. Clearly, it reflects the frustration of President Biden, who's been constantly telling Mr. Netanyahu to agree to a ceasefire and help to get the hostages out. The Israelis did get two hostages out the other week, but there are so many left, well over 100, and they're dispersed and they're underground. It's not going to be easy to get them. And of course, even if they were to invade Rafah full force, that doesn't mean they'll save the hostages. By the way, the fact that it's Ramadan didn't stop the Egyptians from attacking Israel during what they call the War of Ramadan. So that's somewhat of a side issue. But clearly, the United States is reflecting its frustration. You asked me what Mr. Netanyahu is going to do. Well, right now, he is as defiant as ever. He just came out with a new statement that there wouldn't be a Palestinian state for decades. He's playing to his extreme right. But at the end of the day, should the United States turn on him, which is becoming increasingly likely, he may actually have to cave unless he cares nothing at all about the dead and the wounded in his own country and his own citizens.
So we talked about Rafah. The Palestinians are bracing for what seems to be an imminent assault on Rafah as Israel prepares to launch that ground offensive in the southern Gaza city. Can a UN resolution that we just talked about aimed at addressing the situation be effective in possibly altering the situation on the ground and Prime Minister Netanyahu's decisions?
Well, in the past, it has been. And clearly, a Security Council resolution that passes, which means the United States votes for it, is a major message even to someone who is as reluctant to change as Netanyahu is. Not only that, it's not only Netanyahu who's going to be on the receiving end of such a resolution. All Israelis will see it, will know about it, and it will increase internal pressure on Netanyahu to move ahead and do something to save the hostages. As you may probably know, there are constant demonstrations on the part of hostage families and their supporters against Netanyahu's policies, and this will only strengthen their hand.
Okay, well, we'll be watching that United Nations Security Council meeting, which is scheduled to start shortly this morning on Tuesday, very closely. And I look forward to speaking to you again very soon. Dov Zakheim, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.